India is fully in support of such representatives who are working for the betterment of the community. The balance needs to be struck between cracking down on Wahhabi radicals and also promoting representatives of Indian Islam. We have with us now Lieutenant General Zamiruddin Shah, former Vice Chancellor of Aligarh Muslim University, and of course someone who has served for many, many years in the Indian Army, live with us. Welcome to the broadcast. Thank you very much for being with us today, General Shah.
Jai Hind.
Lieutenant Shah, let me begin with you first on this outreach, really, which began, of course, with a meeting with you and many others by the RSS chief, and in fact now is continued yesterday and even today. How do you see it?
Well, I think it's a very positive development. Five friends, of which I am one, and you name them, we had requested in writing for a meeting with Bhagwat, and that was granted. And we met him on 22nd of August at his headquarters in Delhi. We were struck by the stark simplicity of the headquarters. Everything was very functional, but no ostentation. And he was dot on time at 10 o'clock. And he heard us through very patiently. The meeting was scheduled for half an hour, but it extended for an hour and 15 minutes. So it meant that he had taken us seriously, and we came back very convinced that this was the right track. Bhagwat is the right person to be talking to. We requested him for detailing a team of people, and he has done that. And this process of dialogue and the development that followed, for example, his visit to a madrasa and to the mosque today, are very, very positive developments. And I think this will start with the process of dialogue stretching right across the country. I think it's a very, very positive and happy development.
Okay, let's break down these meetings a bit more in detail now, sir. What was your concern? What was your viewpoint and the viewpoint of the others with you, including Shahid Siddiqui, including Najib Jung, including many others who, S.Y. Qureshi as well, who spoke with him at that juncture? What was your concern? What were your thoughts? What were your views that you conveyed?
Well, our basic concern was the points put up by the Dharam Sansad in their meeting, where they had said that they intend disenfranchising any non-Hindu. This was something which we pointed out to Bhagwat, and he said that these people are not under our control, but he reassured us that everything will be done according to the Constitution of India. And this is unconstitutional, this demand, because everybody, according to the Constitution, has the right to vote. So we were very, very reassured. After that, Sri Bhagwat pointed out some areas of concern among the majority community. One was the illegal or the illicit slaughter of cows and eating of their meat. And we told him that this was a thing which has to be stopped and action to be taken against people who do this illegally. We also pointed out that Sir Syed in the beginning of the century had banned the consumption of beef in Aligarh Muslim University, basically because of safeguarding the interests of the community, of all communities. That was one. Secondly, he says you all are using terms like kafir, which are derogatory. And we certainly, it was used in a context at one point of time, but the term kafir is something which non-Muslims should not be referred to. What is a non-kafir? What's a kafir? A kafir is one who does not believe in the Almighty. A kafir is one who does not have a religious text or book. Well, every community has it. The Hindus have it. So do the Muslims, the Christians, the Jews. All of them have got religious scriptures. So it is wrong and to term a fellow kafir. So the eating of beef. Then he says that terms like jihad and other things. But what we should have pointed out is this is not a term being used by by Muslims. This is a term being used by the media and on the social and the television channels, which are calling everything love jihad, IS jihad, all sorts of jihads. We are not using it. But it is a term being used to denigrate Muslims. So these were the yes, and also it was agreed that the process of dialogue will continue, and Bhagwat ji has detailed his representatives to carry on the process of dialogue, and he's reassured us that he would step in whenever it was required.
What was his outlook and his viewpoint on these issues?
Well, he heard us very patiently. He heard us very patiently. I was asked, did he give any reassurances? No, he did not. But the way he heard us out and his reactions to it, which way he took our points, whatever we had projected, very seriously, and we are very, very certain that some positive actions will flow out of them.
Yes, interestingly, General Shah, because the outreach is continuing. It's not stopped at that meeting with you. It's continued, as I said yesterday, it's continued today. Obviously, all of this does signify something very big, doesn't it?
Certainly. What everybody perceives to be the hardcore elements at the RSS, no, they are very well-meaning and, intellectual people amongst them. And they realize that the progress of the country can only take part, what Sri Bhagwat pointed out, that the minorities are 20%. I cannot challenge that figure, but obviously, if 20% of the population are not, it's like your fingers apart, but a wrist when everybody's together. So this is a point which everybody realizes. If this country of ours is to progress, everybody, all communities, all religions have to put their shoulders to the wheel.
Absolutely.
And the process which is happening, I think it's a very, very...
Because not only is dialogue being held, General Shah, but at a time when there is a madrasa survey in Uttar Pradesh, the state where you served as Vice Chancellor of a very prominent university there, and there is fear-mongering by some, including Mr. OSC and others, who say that this is a mini NRC and madarse giraye jayenge, ye madarson ko khatam karne ka prayas hai. You have Mohan Bhagwat himself going to a madarsa today.
That's right. See, I pointed out, this question was asked to me, there is apprehension in the mind of Muslims that why only madrasas? And I said, there has to be equity, there has to be equal treatment of all communities. And if a survey which the government is within its rights to do, the Muslim community would be reassured if a survey is carried out of all educational institutions. That would send what would set the apprehensions of the Muslim community at rest. At the moment, they're feeling that they've been singled out, and so the survey of the madrasas is being done. But the government has every right to carry out a survey of whatever it likes.
Yes. Now, the timing is also very, very interesting, because today there have also been raids on an organization called the PFI. How do you view these raids?
Look, anything which is, I have not read much into what the PFI is up to, but my stand is anything which is against the interests of the country, the government is at liberty to take action.
Do you believe that the PFI should be banned?
I cannot comment on that. If it is working against any organization that is working against the interests of the country, should be banned.
And do you believe it's important to distinguish between radical outfits, radical individuals, and progressive ones, and secular ones? There is a difference between Indian Islam and Wahhabi Islam as well, General Shah.
See, Indian Islam is basically Sufism. I'm an adherent of the Sufi thought process, which is very, very inclusive. So this is what Indian Islam, I won't say there's Indian Islam, there's Sufi Islam, which is a very liberal phase of Islam. And I think that in India, we need a liberal thought in all religions, not only in Islam. Even in the Sanatana Dharma is very liberal. So we need to be liberal in our thought process. We need to carry out this process of dialogue, and we need to well recharge this the goodwill which was always prevalent in our country.
But do you believe that somewhere Wahhabi Islam is beginning to influence individuals more than it should in our country?
Wahhabi Islam is disappearing in Saudi Arabia itself. It's very puritanical. It is very, very hardcore. And I don't think that was the spirit of Islam. Islam is a very inclusive religion. Unto you, your religion, and to me, my religion. That's what was taught.
How did you deal with all of this, sir, while you were VC at AMU? Because there are very progressive Muslims there, students of all ideologies, all thoughts, but some who perhaps would have had a more extreme viewpoint, a more volatile viewpoint as well, sometimes violent too. How did you deal with all of that, sir? Because you balance things out quite well in your tenure.
Yes, I'm very proud to say that the international ranking agencies graded Aligarh Muslim University as the #1 university of the country. Times Higher Education London and US News will report in their grading of the academic year 2016-17 graded AMU as the top university of the country. Well, we achieved it by one thing: imposing discipline. We gave freedom of speech to everybody. The students had a right to protest, but I made it clear that your freedom ends where my nose begins. If you try and punch my nose, I'll punch back. So that message went across. We gave freedom of thought. We allowed the students' union to function, the teachers' association to function, and everybody remained within their bounds. And that's how we achieved this distinction.
How do you view what is also happening, sir? And last couple of questions before we let you go. With Mahsa Amini in Iran, that young girl whose death has caused huge protests in Iran and some other Islamic nations.
Look, I am not against hijab. All I maintain is that it is freedom of choice. The freedom to dress the way they want should be left to the women and to the girls. We should not impose any restrictions on them. So that is my view. I think it is a liberal outlook as preached by the Sufis. The choice of dress, if they want to wear a hijab, welcome. If you don't want to wear a hijab, nobody must force you to wear one. That is my viewpoint.
Absolutely. And that's something that should even be followed in India perhaps. And do you also believe that more Muslim women should speak up for justice for Mahsa, because a lot have been very silent, which has been criticized?
Yes. The very positive development is that the large number of Muslim women who are pursuing education, not only at the basic level, but in higher. I mean, in Aligarh Muslim University, most of the medal winners were girls, they're women. And this was a this is a revolution. If you have an educated mother, you have the educated family. Let me assure you that this is a revolution which has overtaken everything else, the revolution to get educated. This is one of the fields where the Muslims were lacking, and now they're trying to catch up and catch up very fast.
Okay. And finally then, we do know that Mohan Bhagwat met with the Imam as well today. How do you view that? He met with the chief cleric of the All India Imam organization. In fact, we're going to be playing out his interview as well in a bit. But how do you view that meeting? And also, interestingly, meeting with children as well, who study in the madrasas, who told Mohan Bhagwat what they want to do in life.
See, it's a misconception that madrasas are only teaching anti-national thoughts and other things. No, not at all. I've been closely associated with madrasas because we wanted to modernize them. And I visited several madrasas in Western UP. In not a single incident did I come across any anti-national lessons or activity being conducted. I think the Mohan Bhagwat ji's visit to the mosque, to the madrasa, and meeting young children is a very, very positive sign. And I've been telling people, my own community, open the doors of mosques and madrasas to non-Muslims. Let them visit. In fact, I would go to the extent of allowing non-Muslims to study in madrasas. After all, great politicians and great learned people of yore who were non-Muslim that studied in madrasas.
So you believe that there is a need for reform? That it should not be shied away from, or people should not think that, they're imposing on madrasas or Islam by asking for reform?
No. It is absolutely essential. Look, we can't only raise muezzin and imams in madrasas. Madrasa means a school, and a school means not only religious teaching but education in all spheres to allow the students to earn bread and butter. I mean, this is the only way forward.
Okay. Lieutenant General Zamiruddin Shah, former VC AMU, it's really been a pleasure speaking with you, sir. And thank you for being very candid on a host of issues.
Thank you very much. Jai Hind.